live here. Welcome everybody to Off the Top Rope live after Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Just about a half hour ago, Monday Night Raw on Netflix ended. We are coming to you live from sunny and very hot Southern California. I'm Mike Mayer. For those of you new to the channel, thanks for tuning in over here. I appreciate Tay the Survivor. What's going on? So appreciate y'all tuning in. It's been no secret that I've been very critical of WWE and their content in the last week. Look, it wasn't that good, but when you were 50 feet of crap, this was a much better show. And to me, what I judge shows off of is if there's actually storyline progression. And there was stuff throughout this show to me, and there was really good wrestling. Roxanne Perez and basically, I don't even know what the story is with Naomi. Roxanne Perez and Io Sky put on one of the TV matches of the year. Like some of the straight, like Roxanne, need Io, on two separate occasions, like Roxanne Perez, I thought really hurt Io Sky. Like this was like a Joshi, stardom level wrestled match. Like it was great. Main event, predictable, DQ finish. I don't like Sami Zayn getting sucked back into the Bloodline MFT vortex. And and the biggest thing for me and why I think I like this show maybe more than most is because it progressed things towards Clash in Paris. I think we've got a path that's a little bit clearer to Clash in Paris. We do have some murkiness with Naomi. We do not know what's going on. They said something right off the top of the show. And maybe as I'm on the air here, you guys can kind of relay some information to me in the chat. I haven't been following social media platforms to see what's going on, if PW Insider or WWE has said anything in regards to Naomi. We didn't even see her tonight, which is unfortunate because she's honestly one of the best characters going in WWE. Yeah, the DQ finishes, look, here's what I'll say about the MFT stuff. Listen, I freaking hate, I think the MFT stuff, what Solo said, which was trolling that they're in the third inning, we need to get out of this MFT shit. I do like that at least they followed up on a story that happened on SmackDown. At least they followed up on that. Okay. And it wasn't just like a cheap Sami Zayn victory and they acted like nothing happened. I'm glad that they bled that into Raw. Yes, there were too many DQ finishes on this show. And you could see the Rollins interference in that main event coming from a mile away. So some of this was very predictable. How we got there and some of the work that went on in it was great. Listen. Again, last week, nothing happened. And that was coming off of a pay-per-view. Nothing substantial happened. On this show, a lot of stuff. They even got some build in for Triple Mania. So, listen. I didn't hate this show. That being said, I didn't think it was the greatest Raw of all time. I didn't think it was the best Raw of the year, but I think it did the job in what you're kind of supposed to do in these build weeks because, hey, we're less than 3 weeks away from Clash in Paris. We know what the main event of this show is going to be, more than likely, unless they want a main event with a John Cena match. They could do that. John Cena, Logan Paul, that'd be a choice if you main evented with that match. But I think what's going to probably happen, who knows? Maybe we get Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre happens at that show. And maybe that's the main event. But maybe they write Cody Rhodes off. And it's also very clear, and I know a lot of people are going to probably have questions about this, is what's the direction of Roman Reigns? Because he has been announced for next week on Raw from Philadelphia. Like that got out there last week that Roman Reigns was going to be at the show in Philadelphia. So what I think is going to happen, is Bronson Reed, the tribal thief, is going to face Roman Reigns at the Clash in Paris event. I think that's what's going to happen, or they're going to do something out of it. And maybe that's how we write Roman off of television. Maybe Roman gets a win and Bronson Reed kills him and we get Roman off of television for a while. And, he doesn't come back for a little bit. But yeah, hey, we all expected going into this, like, especially after last week, that we were going to get a fatal four-way for the World Heavyweight title. It was going to be Seth Rollins defending against LA Knight and CM Punk. And a lot of people thought Roman Reigns was going to be in that picture. I was like, I don't know, maybe it's a triple threat. And then, Jey Uso, after being mysteriously absent last week and not being available at all on that show in Brooklyn, which was really interesting. Jey Uso's back into the picture. I did not have Jey Uso challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. So all you people who love Yeet and main event Jey Uso, you're going to get one more main event out of him. He's still over, but I'll tell you what I'm over. I'm over the MFT shit, and I'm also over main event Jey Uso is me. Get him back with this brother. Get him back with this brother. The Raw Tag Team division could really use the Usos. So if there's one thing that I kind of had a quibble about, that was kind of it. I did love like the on-screen chemistry, and this is two of my favorites on the microphone. CM Punk and LA Knight. Both those guys got an opportunity to cook on the microphone. I love that after the match was announced, they started brawling with each other because they understand the task at hand. Pretty solid opening segment. We get through all of that stuff, and it's good to see LA Knight after a lot of concern that that he's getting featured a little bit more. I don't know if he's going to get an opportunity here. And I totally agree that we need a draft like yesterday. I was talking with some of my buddies during the show, and I basically was telling them, I was like, listen, the Raw Women's division and the SmackDown Tag Team division are two of the best divisions that WWE has to offer. If you flip it and you go Raw Tag Team division and SmackDown Women's division, they need to trade tag teams for superstars in opposite directions. SmackDown needs female superstars like yesterday because Tiffany Stratton's got nobody to face, especially with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss being the tag team champions. And then on Raw, you have so many people: Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez. Even with Liv Morgan, you got Becky Lynch going on. By the way, there was a really interesting development with Bayley that I'm really interested to see where that goes. That was, to me, honestly, one reason why I really like the show is you had really well-produced, crafted vignettes hyping up character progressions with people. That's the most vulnerable I've seen Bayley probably since NXT. And and you hear the hysterical, she's about to go fucking crazy. And to me, crazy, whacked out, over the top Bayley is I like Bayley as a babyface. The hugger thing got her over, but this version of the role model, I think it has run its course. I think it's time for her to maybe take a next step in terms of her character. And I think that's a very interesting development there. But that being said, there's so many talented women on Raw. And then I'm not saying there's not talented women on SmackDown. There's just not enough. And we're already starting to tease, potentially Jade Cargill and Tiffany again. Yes, Bianca Belair is on the verge of coming back. At least that's what's reported. But I would trade some Raw women for SmackDown tag teams because Motor City Machine Guns need to get out of there. Hell, get Fraxium out of there. Get them over to Raw, and that way you have some more compelling challengers for the Judgment Day, because there's nobody for the Judgment Day to face. There's nobody. When you got the New Day are playing buddy with Grayson Waller. I don't even know where the fuck the War Raiders are. There's no tag teams on this show. There's no tag teams on this show. So yeah. And then the other big piece of tonight that I know certainly will get talked about. There was no We Want Cross chants at all. That shocked me. So I don't know whether or not to praise Quebec City for being a very lively crowd, very into the show. I know it was probably only their second Raw that they've ever had in that city, so that was really cool. And Canadian fans in general are very lively. But they were into the show. They didn't disrespect it. They didn't do the wave. They didn't toss around beach balls. They didn't do a bunch of nonsense. They weren't bored. It wasn't quiet very much. And we didn't get We Want Cross. at all on this show. So if you're going to ask me what that means to my original opinion about, do I think the Karrion Kross thing is a work? Yes, I still do. But I found it really interesting that considering everything that happened on Sunday with him announcing his release, the trend we want Kross on the internet, that nothing was said about this. So I don't know what it means for the future, but he's got a book to promote. He's got a documentary to promote. Listen, like I'm not gonna sit around here and pretend like, listen, it's a divisive topic. I'm just glad it didn't take away from the show. That's my thing. It's like, if you're getting good wrestling in front of you and you got good wrestling tonight, respect it. Don't spit on over it. I don't know if they weren't big Kross fans. I think that, when a show is engaging, that's going to trump everything. And I think these Canadian fans got treated, even the tag with AJ Styles. And yes, I understand that AJ Styles got pinned by El Grande Americano. By the way, Kaiser is freaking killing it in this role, man. Kaiser might be a better El Grande Americano than friggin' Chad Gable. And I'm also glad that we didn't get the cosplayers in, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Maybe they weren't big Kross fans. Listen, this whole situation with Karrion Kross is very unique because while he's built up a bunch of goodwill, a lot of people think he's boring. A lot of people don't think he's not that special. I've seen the Adam Cole promo from 4 years ago referenced a lot. And to me, what's really interesting about this is you can't really get a straight answer that no matter the amount of 10 people, you're probably split 5 and 5 in terms of, do you want Kross back? Do you not want Kross back? If you're an AEW fan, do you want Karrion Kross in AEW? Do you not want Karrion Kross? It's right down the middle. Like, this is right down the middle. So whatever they decide to do, it is going to be a very, it's going to be a very divisive topic. It's going to be a very, controversial decision that they make. But very clearly, in a lot of arenas recently, we want Kross has trended and is, been a big deal, but nothing happened. That jumped out at me. So that means two things. One, they enjoyed the show, and two, Kross wasn't that important to them to make a statement like that. So, in that respect, I hand it to Quebec City. Good for them. So I don't know if you guys are interested in the AAA show, Triple Mania this week, and I'm actually kind of interested. I might watch it because Dom is going to be insanely over. They were heavily promoting. Like, this is so wild that in 2025, it's so wild in 2025 that we're heavily promoting AAA events on WWE television. Also, can we talk about this for a second? I heard this, and then, Corey Graves announced it on commentary. The commentary team for Triple Mania on Saturday night is Corey Graves, which is awesome. Corey was awesome at Worlds Collide back in June. And John Bradshaw Layfield, the wrestling god, is going to Mexico to call some wrestling. Interesting. I know him and Eddie were boys. That was the feud that really defined JBL as a heel 20 so years ago. But man, that caught me off guard. I mean, I was fine with Conan on commentary, but I guess Conan can't do it. So, yeah. So anyway, AJ Styles teams with Dragon Lee to take on El Grande Americano and Dominic. This was a long tag team match. It went 16 minutes, and it got a lot of time. A lot of good wrestling here. Dominic is insanely over. Dominic is insanely over, and he uses the mask, gets the plate, and gets the plate in his mask, and he headbutts AJ Styles, and AJ Styles gets pinned by El Grande Americano. I know a lot of people are not going to be happy with AJ Styles, eating the pinfall here. A lot of people were expecting that Dragon Lee was going to be the one to eat the pinfall there. But if you do the process of elimination here, Dragon Lee's in the match at Triple Mania. Three quarters of this match are the AAA Mega Championship match. So in that respect, and I know some people are going to be mad, but also AJ Styles, basically got pinned after getting hit with a steel plate mask in his head. So you can sell it like that. AJ Styles is going to be fine. Okay. Like some people are just going to, the AEW geeks are just going to be like, yeah, AJ Styles got done dirty. Guys, what do you expect them to do? Dragon Lee's in this title match. El Grande Americano, who they're pushing heavily, even though there's like 4 different people playing it, he's in this match. Dominic Mysterio is the fucking Intercontinental Champion. He's in the match. Process of elimination, especially considering they had all these DQ finishes on this show, AJ was always going to be the one to get pinned. Some people will say, well, why put him in the match? He's got heat with these guys. It was a fine wrestling match. You can question the outcome, but based off the logic of that, it makes sense. So I talked about this off the top. I didn't even really reference it, but right off the top of the show, this is the other big piece of what happened. So we get through that first match. So Naomi was deemed not medically clear to compete. I don't have the timestamp of when it was announced, but it was early on today, or late afternoon, where it was revealed that Naomi was not medically cleared to compete, and the Women's World Championship match with her and Io Sky was off. It was off. So that sucks. What I'm not going to do here is I'm not going to play internet speculation. I've seen a lot of reckless speculation on the internet from people that I'm friendly with to just a bunch of idiots on the internet saying that Naomi's pregnant. I understand that she wasn't on camera, and apparently she's doing a podcast with Stephanie McMahon this week with her and Jimmy. That could be speculation. Listen, until something comes out of Naomi's mouth, can we give her some privacy? They will update us whenever they want to. I wish Naomi well, no matter what the ailment is. They didn't strip her of the championship, so hopefully it's nothing too serious. And if it is a pregnancy, can we not be recklessly speculating right now, please? Please? It's unfortunate that Naomi was not on this show because she is one of the shining lights on Raw right now. She really is. Like, she's been terrific in this role. We've got 20 days left. They were going to do this Women's World Championship match. Side note, out of that, as bad of a situation as that was with Naomi missing this show, we got treated to one of the TV matches of the year, in my opinion, between Roxanne Perez and no, Naomi was there last week. She was in the building. You just didn't see her because they hit her during a Netflix ad break. So she was there. Jimmy wasn't on last week's SmackDown, which was interesting. That was very interesting, and no Jacob Fatu either. So again, we can recklessly speculate, and if this goes down the road of certain things, like no matter if it's a serious injury or if it's something that takes her off television, especially after she just had the crowning moment of her career and is on the run of a lifetime. Jesus, what unfortunate timing that is. But hey, if it's whatever it is, we wish her well. Yeah, I mean, no, dude, it's totally fine. Like, she really was hidden. Like, it's this weird thing that Triple H does with his champions, where he doesn't have them wrestle or do really anything. It's ridiculous. We barely saw Stephanie Vaquer. Like, they found a way to get a lot of women on television, like in passing glances, like Rhea, passing glance. Asuka, Io, and Roxanne, Raquel. Like, the Raw Women's division's loaded. They need to get some of them over to SmackDown. But as I was saying, if there was a positive to come out of this, situation with Naomi, which, I don't know if your Women's World Champion's injured and couldn't compete tonight, which stinks. But like I said, we get Roxanne Perez and Io Sky in an unbelievable wrestling match. Like, and seriously, I said this off the top, this was like a Joshi stardom wrestled match. Like, Roxanne Perez did like her handspring, like flip knee drop or whatever the hell you want to call it to the back of the neck of Io. Sounded like it fucking hurt. I was shocked that Io didn't break her neck there. And then Io took a freaking 2 boots like to her shoulder after she tried the over the moonsault. The finish at the end was a little bit messy, but I get why they did that. I think this was literally what was going to happen. that they're planting seeds of doubt in the mind of Io in relation to in relation to the team. Yeah, and I do, and yes, I this you just hit it right on the point there. I totally agree. What's going to happen here is the Kabuki Warriors are going to turn on, it's going to be a slow burn turn here because I think Asuka's going to be the first one to go. Kairi's clearly playing the middle, but she's going to side with Asuka, and then Rhea and Io are going to end up being a tag team, and that's going to really beef up this division. So. And there's already a lot of talented women on the singles side that they can potentially carry that. They just need to balance out the singles rosters on Raw and SmackDown, in my opinion. But that's what I think is going to happen there. But yeah, we got treated to a really good match. Like, Kairi and Asuka disobey Io's basically, like, I guess you could say edict to not get involved in the match. They cost her the match. And, hey, Roxanne Perez, good win for her. It's nice to see her getting, big time dubs on the show. She kind of needed that. And, clearly Raquel and Roxanne are probably heading in a different direction. I don't know if they're necessarily going to be out of the tag team picture. But it'll be interesting to see how Roxanne Perez moves about Raw moving forward. But that was a big win for Roxanne. Really entertaining match. In between that, we also got Rusev and Sami Zayn. This was not very I mean, this went about 10 minutes. And then the MFTs, Sami Zayn gets sucked in the MFT vortex. So I don't know what this means. I thought Jey Uso may get dragged over to SmackDown, but he's in the world title picture still. So listen, I think Solo's doing great work. I just don't care about this. I don't. This cage match at SummerSlam was probably one of the worst matches of the year. And it just, it didn't click. Solo's been a fine champion, but he's already lost. So, I do appreciate that they followed this up, but at the same time, whatever. But then I'll say this, Sammy's not winning the title. I think that'd be stupid because Solo just has this new MFT group. Solo ain't losing the title. I don't know when he's losing the title, but that's certainly something. But after the match is really where it got interesting. Sheamus, who earlier on was begged off by Sammy to not get involved in the match. So Rusev and Sheamus just start brawling through the lower bowl of the arena, and everybody's going fucking crazy. And I said this on social media. This is basically the beefy man version. This is the Big E special version of Carmelo Hayes and Andrade last year. These guys are going to go to a best of 7. They're going to beat the living piss out of each other. And, it's going to be fantastic. Rusev hasn't really gotten a lot of run or a lot of attention for him since he came back to WWE 4 months ago. But he's done some good work, man. They've had him wrestling good matches. He's looked strong. He's looked as, indestructible as ever. And I think Sheamus has been a perfect dance partner for him because they know each other. These guys are friends. They go way back to the League of Nations. Sheamus, for whatever reason, he is like the curious case of Benjamin Button if he were a wrestler. And that's a good point too. Rusev and Sheamus, they do the whole bar thing. I don't hate that idea. Raw needs tag teams. And unless you're telling me Sheamus is going to go after the Intercontinental title, why not? Why not? These guys know each other so well. That would be a hell of a tag team. The brawlers, man. That'd be a lot of fun actually. But yeah, this is like the big meaty men slapping meat version of Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. I hope these guys beat the living piss out of you. But like I said, Sheamus is literally like the curious case of Benjamin Button if he were a wrestler. This guy gets older and he puts on better performances. It's unbelievable what this guy does. Like I remember when he came into WWE in 2009, all of us fucking hated him. I mean, because he was just this, redheaded stepchild with pale skin. And it's not even a catchphrase anymore. All this guy fucking does, whenever he's on television, it's a great segment. And whenever he's in the ring, it's banger after banger after banger. All this guy does is just turn out great matches. It's unbelievable that this guy at the stage of his career nearly had his career ended, I think twice. He had stenosis, and now he is on the run of a lifetime. Give him something, for God's sake. But this is a nice consolation prize to work with one of your friends. Um, to work with one of your friends in terms of that. You know, Raw kind of resembles itself, and I think I see what you're meaning by it's Groundhog Day, Chief. It's ending the same way. This whole, Vision closes out the show, destroying people, and we're waiting for Roman Reigns to come out. It's a little bit, tight cast, and I'm starting to get a little bit tired of it. But it is what it is. So, Bronson Reed cut a promo backstage, and he heavily, referenced Roman Reigns and taking two of his shoes. I mean, he's wearing freaking two shoe Lafalas, which is ridiculous. So, I clearly think what's happening here is Roman Reigns is going to face Bronson Reed at Clash in Paris. I think he's advertised for the show. I think that's what's going to happen. I already talked about the match that happened between Roxanne Perez and Io Sky. This went 15 minutes. This was a fantastic match. Like this was the woman killed it tonight. And if you didn't know, or haven't been, onto Roxanne Perez, because she literally just kind of got thrown on the main, and you've seen the performances she's put on this year. This woman could carry this division for the next decade or so. They're slow burning this, much like they're slow burning this with Braun Breaker. He's advertised for Philly next week, and I think that's where we're going to set up the match between him and Bronson Reed for Paris. That's what I think is going to happen. So, but I really enjoyed that match. LA Knight talked to Jey Uso. They did a yeet. So I didn't know where that was going, but then obviously the main event revealed to that what happened. So Io and Asuka were bickering, Kairi Sane bickering, and it's clear that we're going towards a heel turn, which I think is very interesting. Another women's match, not very long. Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree. For a 5-minute match, this was freaking harmless. Maxine looked good. She's still got a ways to go. She's not nearly at the level of some of the upper tier performers, but that's not what she is. She's clearly gotten better. Becky Lynch clearly saw this as an opportunity to give her something and, give her a decent match. Becky bumped her ass off for her. No Nikki Bella, which was interesting, but Natalya gets involved. So clearly where I see this going, I think Natalya is going to be what brings Nikki Bella back into the fray, because Natty and Nikki are, because Natty and Nikki are tight. Okay, AEW Dynamite ticket sales. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not surprised. They do good shit I think they're up at like 13,000 for Forbidden Door. I'm not surprised that AEW selling it. Going to the UK is smart. I just wish they booked better television, but they're going to coast to this because, hey, they've got what, no matter what show they put on, that crowd's going to go crazy for it. I mean, hey, we'll see what the world title picture looks like for Dynamite this week. I like Maxine, and listen, let me say this about Maxine for a second. Maxine's gotten a lot of shit for a long time and could have very easily, been one of these people who just could have been outlawed from WWE, because it feels like she's almost kind of from the previous Diva era. But because remember, she was basically like a replacement for LA Knight when they moved LA Knight out of that group, the Maximum Male Models. And she kind of gets thrown in with Otis. You remember Otis, and was a goofy character. Then all of a sudden she started to wrestle. And I was like, listen, I've seen improvement. I've absolutely seen improvement. The crowd's into her. And I admire hard work. Yeah, and you're right. PHX, you're right. I think what happened here, this was supposed to be a non-title, and they gave us a title match. Again, no harm, no foul. It made it look like a bigger deal for Maxine. Yeah, it was a 5-minute match, but still, Maxine looked fine. And if you guys go back, I think this was like a year or two ago, Becky was walking backstage and she was cutting a promo, and then she stopped her promo, walked back over to Maxine, who was with then Ivy Nile. So this was a while ago, and basically said, go out there and kill it. And she knows how, exactly. She knows how to play her role. She understands what she needs to do. And I think she's improved immensely. And one thing that I appreciate more than anything, especially when it comes to women's wrestling, because if you like, listen, back in the day, the women were just they were treated like dog shit in the dark days. Now, if you don't adapt and you don't get better immediately, you are going to fall by the wayside. Look no further. Gigi, I mean, and this is unfortunate. Gigi Dolan and Cora Jade were thought to be hot prospects moving up the ladder at NXT because they both dealt with knee injuries and just had some bad luck. They were gone. Shotzi was on the main roster. She's one of the only people to beat Stephanie Vaquer. She's not in WWE anymore. If you do not change or adapt and catch the eyes of WWE talent evaluators, or you don't show them something through weeks of television or weeks on end, you're gonna fall by the wayside. And what I've seen from Maxine whenever she's done main event or whatever, and I've seen the internet clips, she has been really, really impressive. And Becky Lynch clearly sees something in her to give her a 5-minute match on Raw. Yeah, was it short? Did it really mean anything? Not really. But I think that meant the world to Maxine. So, and listen, yeah, Gigi, the problem with Gigi is she got hurt. And then when she came back, it was just stunted by just, abnormal pushes. Also, let's call it what it is. Mandy Rose didn't help her or JC Jane's case. JC's actually kind of shined, and now she's a double champion. But yeah, Gigi really didn't differentiate herself. That's what I'm talking about is like, listen, if you're in this women's division and you don't differentiate yourself from the pack, you're going to fall by the wayside and you're going to be one of these people who gets released. I love Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai, in their eyes, even though she's a great wrestler, it was the same woman. She was the same woman. And she didn't change anything. And who's to say that she doesn't end up in AEW or TNA or whatever? I hate Mara Shade, Jakar Jackson, who I loved. I hated that they broke up the Meta Girls. They clearly see something in Lash Legend and they want to push her as a single. So, yeah, that's a good point. Pretty much released all of his rehires from 2022. That's actually an excellent point, Freshfly. That is such a great point. Karrion Kross, Dakota Kai, who the fuck else am I missing? Ashanti, right? And, Top Dolla's not there anymore. We don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with Naomi. I hope it's not serious because, listen, that would really be unfortunate if that goes down the way that it did. So then the main event happens, or actually, no, okay. Let's get to this for a second. Bayley promo. So she cut this really cryptic promo about like how she's really feeling nothing after 13 years. And then, there was some maniac, and then like after, like she said, yeah, it's all her fault. And so she has this maniacal laugh that comes in at the end. And, I'm really intrigued by this. All you people who thought Bayley was getting fucking screwed over with all these, with all these missed opportunities and everything, like, missing WrestleMania, missing SummerSlam. I think this is all going to turn out really well for her. I don't think Bayley gets nearly enough credit because a lot of it happened during COVID for how great of a run she had as SmackDown Women's Champion back in 20, this was the SmackDown on Fox days. She's great. She is a phenomenal bad girl. And I think this could really turn into something. Some people are speculating with the evil laugh that maybe she joins the Wyatt Six. I don't know. But I think we're gonna see, a twisted sister version of Bayley. The role model is dead. I think the character kind of had a life space. I love Bayley. I think she's awesome. I think she's really underappreciated. But this honestly was one of the most intriguing things that this was one of the most intriguing things of the show. And it's one of the things that I loved about this show that was missing from last week. You had character development segments and stuff that progress storylines forward and keep you guessing. Yeah, no, listen, her and Sasha were some of the best things during COVID, man. And if you guys remember the doldrums of when we were watching the Thunderdome and the Performance Center, Bayley and Sasha was fantastic television. Listen, everybody gets this wrong idea about me and Mercedes Moné and like how I don't listen. I appreciate what she does. I just think, some way she kind of talks out of her ass a little bit about, how she really appreciates it. Look, everybody wants to be on top. She wanted to be on top. She never got that opportunity. She went to AEW. She's won all these matches, and now she's getting shit for it. And justifiably so. And still her fan base, which is one of the biggest nerd fan bases, because all those people are probably living in their basement, fucking whacking off to some, dumpster porn or whatever. They're fucking sickos who never have had a real girlfriend and dream that they could be with Mercedes Moné. I'm sorry, the Beast Mortos will fucking eat you guys alive. It's just, I don't get, like, yes, during the lock, yes, Sasha Io, who was that was Great American Bash, right? That was Great American Bash. Great match. SummerSlam, when Sasha faced Asuka. Asuka did double duty. Yeah, she's stat padding. That's exactly what she's doing. Sasha and Jade, listen, if Sasha could drag a paper bag to a fucking good match, I mean, I think she had a pretty decent match with Harley Cameron. I mean, I just don't know when she's coming back. I don't. I think she's very happy there right now because she's gotten everything she ever wanted. She's going to probably be the women's champion at some point soon. But yeah, in terms of Bayley, I think Bayley's doing fine on her own. A lot of people were like clamoring for her to go to AEW. Maybe she does, but I think this character thing was one of the most interesting things on this show. Lyra Valkyria basically, kind of distances herself. It's going to be interesting to see how that whole thing plays out. It looks like 2020. Because I'm guessing it's a 3-year contract. That's the way they do things in AEW. So that's interesting to look at. We'll see what happens on SmackDown. Drew McIntyre, I guess, is going to address the Cody Rhodes situation. I don't know if that's going to be in Paris. And then, hey, we get the main event. It's, the Bronze and CM Punk at LA Knight. This match went long. But Seth Rollins, who had said in an earlier segment that he was leaving the building, I could see this coming from a mile away. DQ finish. Adam Pearce, listen, when Adam Pearce could cook on the microphone, the guy could cook on the microphone. He had a really good promo here to set up the fatal 4-way match. With it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Jey Uso versus LA Knight versus CM Punk, Clash in Paris. Look, CM Punk, I don't think is getting pinned in this match. Maybe he is. But there's definitely going to be bullshit. And Seth Rollins is going to retain the championship here. But a good first title defense here for Seth to set up a loaded main event scene on Raw. After the match, after this announcement gets made, Knight gets into it with Punk. Jay gets involved, and then everybody beats the shit. The heels just beat the shit out of all the baby faces. There's no Roman return or anything like that. It's the same thing. This was not the ending that I was hoping for. It was a good television main event with a bullshit finish. You get the main event coming out of it, which I liked, but then you get the same shit with, the Bronze and the Vision just standing tall. So to me, there's still some things that need to be tweaked on this show, but it was a fine show, much better than it was last week. And definitely we're building towards something in Clash in Paris. Literally, this is like, it's like, the whole Judgment Day thing. Triple H likes getting into these loops where he will have a hook for Raw specifically, and that is going to just drive the show. It was like Judgment Day versus everybody for like a year and a half before, Rhea was out of the Judgment Day. It was ridiculous. Like Judgment Day would have a tag team match against ever. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know why Jay's in this match. I think that here's what I think is happening. I think Jay's going to eat the pinfall. I think that's why he's in this match. I may be wrong, but I'm convinced that they didn't want to. I'm convinced that they don't want to pin, LA or CM Punk here. Okay, a couple questions. Fresh Fly, I know you were hitting me up here in the chat. So, Roman in Paris. For those of you not there, I think it's very clear to me, based off the Bronson Reed vignette that aired during the show, talking about Roman's shoes. I think Roman Reigns is going to face Bronson Reed in Paris. I think that's what's happening. He's advertised for the show. He'll show up next week. They'll set up that match. I think that's what's going to happen here. Um, there's a rumor going around, and I'm going to probably do a more at length video about this. It sounds like WWE is going to do a show on September 20th from Indianapolis, Indiana. It is yet to be determined what it is called, but it sounds like it's going to be Bad Blood. And this may be the location where we get Brock Lesnar and John Cena. WWE and TKO and their corporate greed continually trying to make every dollar and cent and trying to divide up wrestling fans. And listen, if you're a diehard AEW fan, you're not going to miss All Out. Okay. What I will say is this. They've got to stop doing this. Initially, I was fine with it, but they've got to stop doing this. Have your own weekends for your own show. What does WWE need to prove here? Yeah, September 20th is All Out weekend in Toronto. Listen, look, they overdid it and over fucking saturated and over delivered in that market in Atlanta, which led to poor ticket sales for Evolution. Unfortunately, Evolution was probably the best show of that entire weekend. It all in went 6 hours, which was fucking insane. Look, it's just going to create wars and it's just going to feed into this tribalism era. And I just don't think that WWE needs to resort to these. Yeah. And they made, TKO made what, $8.7 billion because over like the next 13 year or the next like 8 years. It's crazy. Look, Brock and Cena will be fine, but yeah, if that's going to be your hook, I listen, the diehard WWE people who are in for nostalgia are going to want to see those two beat the crap out of each other. I'd probably watch All Out. It's going to depend on what that card looks like. And Tony Khan, you've just given him a license to just fantasy book every dream match he could possibly imagine. Hey, Kenny Omega, what are you doing? Listen, initially I was fine with it because I think AEW has been inviting this to happen. WWE doesn't need to prove anything. You guys have these multi-billion-dollar streaming deals. You have all these partnerships. TKO, you're already pricing people out of events. You're going to charge people $30 a month for ESPN. It's like, why do you need to do this and, put two events on the same weekend? It's a great wrestling weekend, but now you're putting yourself in a situation up against this, and all this is going to do is feed the tribalism narrative. Listen, I don't think maybe WWE thinks that they're a threat or they want to bury them. But in the process of doing this, you're only motivating AEW. Are they secretly trying to hope that AEW gives them more competition? Maybe. I don't know. But listen, I saw this and I was just like, are we really doing this again? Like, I was worn out after the weekend of July 12th, where they did Saturday night's main event. They did All In. They did Great American Bash. There was too many fucking shows. TKO needs to cool it. They need to cool it. You're making all this fucking money, talking about all this fucking gate, and now you're going to plan another show this week or that weekend, September 20th. It's stupid. There's no need to do it. So, listen, it's going to be in Indianapolis. So, we'll see, what happens on that show, but it seems like they would heavily want to lean into a John Cena match, and probably Brock Lesnar would be the choice there. We'll see. Yeah. Well, All In was also 6 fucking hours. So, I mean, a lot of people still haven't recovered from that. All Out was, back half of that show was really great, but yeah, it didn't need to go 6 hours. That was crazy. This petty bullshit's got to stop, man. So, but yeah, you guys have been a lively bunch in the chat. I've been going on here for about 40 some odd minutes. If you have a couple quick questions here, quick hitters before we get out of here, super chats are open. That's the best way to support us here. Overall, I think a solid night, for Raw, much better than, last week. And, last week's television, was All right. So team Cena, team Lesnar. So um I don't know if they're gonna do Lesnar in War Games. I think it would be more like I would say a Team Punk versus Team Rollins. And I do think John Cena would be on the War Games team with CM Punk. I think it would be, I think you would have what? Cena, um, I would have, Roman, Punk, LA Knight, maybe Jey Uso, maybe Sami Zayn, and then you'd probably have the Vision. So you'd have Rollins, Bronson, and then you'd have two other people that maybe they bring up an Ethan Page or a Ricky Saints. I honestly, uh, so here's what I here. Okay, so what I would do, um, I'd probably I don't know if I would have Roman lose, but what I would do to write him off at Clash in Paris is I would have him maybe win over Bronson Reed, but Bronson Reed hits him with like 17 tsunamis or something like that. I know it's an inordinate number, but that's what I would personally do is, make Bronson Reed look strong, have Roman win the match or whatever. I just don't listen. They could have Bronson Reed beat him, but I just listen. Roman's been taking a lot of pinfalls lately. He took the pinfall at WrestleMania. He took the pinfall at the WrestleMania prior to that. I don't collect action figures. I do need to collect more merch because I have been told by people within my family and within my fan base that I need to dress up this background a little bit more. So I need to get some more merch. But no, I do not collect action figures. Good question though. But yeah, you guys are great. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll have more. We'll probably be back here for Dynamite on Wednesday. More content coming to the channel. I'll have a more in-depth video about this whole decision to go with whatever this pay-per-view is going to be on September 20th. So okay, before I sign off, Logan Paul should defeat Cena in Paris. I don't know. Conventional wisdom would tell you yes. My brain and my heart tells me I want John Cena to win that match. But I do think that Logan Paul, from a logistical perspective, beating John Cena would make more sense. So I don't know why we're doing a Logan Paul match with John Cena again. This is the thing about this. This is the fourth match. The fourth match that Logan Paul has been involved in with John Cena this year. Fourth. Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank, Clash in Paris coming up, and then the tag match that ended in the DQ on Friday night. 4 matches on John Cena's retirement tour have involved Logan Paul. He might love him, man, but listen, the fan base don't love Logan Paul. So I don't know why we're doing this, but hey, it's what we got. We all wanted AJ Styles. We're not getting AJ Styles. So people could be mad about that, but this is how they run shit there. So, yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.